Hey, hey. All right. I should be getting sound. Hopefully I have sound. All right. So welcome everyone. Welcome to my channel. If you're new to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. I know some of my mods are busy at the moment. Some are working. So I may not have many mods. But I was in the supermarket and I was listening to Duty Ron and I was thinking about a lot of things. And then I just have so many more questions. And I found some stuff that I found really interesting. Hey, Cindy, that I wanted to share with you guys. And again, just like I said the other night, the debate of Richard Allen being set up or not, it really depends on who you're listening to and who you look at. I personally know I have not followed the case for years like some of my mods have. And even my mods are, my Patreons are divided. Like nobody knows what to believe. Some are diehard, Richard Allen is guilty. On the other side, absolutely not set up. So it really comes down to who you're listening to. But there were a couple of questions that I can't seem to get answered. And I've researched and researched and researched and have not been able to find an answer, which that's why I tagged who I tagged in my live, because hopefully I can get some answers, even if it's, not during this live. I saw Gray was live, but he had a lot of people in there, so trying to get him would be impossible. But one of my biggest questions, and I listened to Duty Ron go through all of the ballistics. Hey guys. Hey, Monique and Grandma Rose. I listened to Duty Ron and Ed Wallace go through all of the ballistics, and I learned a lot. It was very interesting. And then if you look at the trial, if you listen to the trial notes, they had a lot of trial notes, and everyone that was reporting on the case said they had a bullet and a ballistics expert and so on and so forth. But my big question, there wasn't a gun used in the killing. Knives were used, not a gun. So why is everybody worried about bullets and guns? It's the woods. Of course, people are going to go there with guns. Of course, something might get stuck. But what I'm surprised that nobody has brought up yet, as far as I can tell, maybe they did bring it up, I just didn't hear it. But maybe the person that killed them, that was watching them, knew exactly where to bring them or bring their bodies, because they knew somebody with a gun was in the woods over there prior. And to elaborate and give some context on this, is that we know that at least one of them, I believe it was Libby, they said, probably did not die where she was found, that she may have been dragged. They believe Abby probably died where she was found. But because we know that the last place allegedly anyone saw them was on the bridge. So that leads me to believe that maybe somebody was watching and knew exactly where to bring them because they saw someone hunting or they saw someone with a gun or something. I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think the person that did this is a dumb person. I think the person that did this was highly intelligent. I also think, and I don't know if this has been thrown out there or not, so I can't say yes or no. Has the theory ever gone out that it was a police officer that did this? That it was a cop? And I don't know enough about the case to know if that theory has been thrown out or not, but I'm thinking maybe it was a cop. And the reason I say that is I was looking up stuff on the guns, and I was looking up on stuff as to how many of these guns are purchased in America, like per month, per year. And I couldn't find that. But this is what I did find. Hold on. Bear with me. Okay. So what I did find. Hey, Amber. Isn't that a cute avatar? Okay. What I did find, though, is that it's a popular pistol used by many military and law enforcement agencies around the world. So that got me thinking. Amber, you've been here, you followed this case for a long time. Has anyone thrown out the theory, which I'm sure they have, but has anyone thrown out the theory that it was a police officer that did this? And if so, what was the conclusion? Yeah, but Rosemary, I'm about to blow you away with something else I found. And it's going to put you in a state of, oh my God, I never saw that before. Because I don't think most people have. And I'm going to show you that in a second. But I just want to know if anyone else, how many people have thrown out the theory that it was a cop. And that's why the investigation is so fucked up. And why the cops made so many mistakes is that maybe they know it's one of their own, or they found out it was one of their own, or maybe there was evidence that it was a cop. And I mean, I'm just throwing out ideas that ran through my head. So I'm just wondering if in all these years, if any Odinist can be anything, though. It's kind of like Wicca. Anyone could be a witch. It doesn't matter what profession you're in, you could still be a witch. Or like a Mason. I'll use Mason as a better example. Masons come in all forms of people, all walks of life. So I'm assuming that Odinist would be the same thing, that they would, it's all walks of life. But I just found that interesting, though, that it is a very popular pistol with law enforcement. Now, I'm going to take out the Odinist stuff simply because it does get into conspiracy and there's no proof of it. So we're going to leave that out for a second. But the law enforcement aspect, and especially because Libby came from a highly used drug family, I wonder, I know drug dealers have been thrown out there. I read all that. But I don't know. So when I saw that this morning, it just got me thinking, I wonder if a cop did it. And the way they're trying to nail somebody. Now, they're saying, I'll give you some context. They're saying the police had released that the photo of Bridge Guy came from Libby's phone. That is a lie. And it was a lie that was cleared up back in 2018. And I'm going to show you that. But why would the cops allow the public to go on this lie when they knew it was a lie for all these years? Why are they trying to say that a bullet found in the ground of the woods, just because it was near their body, means that that gun is connected to somebody? That gun, that casing is an empty casing. I'm going to show you something, Mel, in a minute. The casing can belong to any single Sig Sauer P266, including law enforcement's, especially if they're the ones that carry this type of gun. I figure it's a theory that's gone around, but since I haven't been able to find the theory, I don't know what the conclusion was. You know what I mean? So I was told this morning too, Elle, that the video was completely different from what we were all led to believe. That's what someone told me this morning, but I found something even more disturbing. I'll show you that in a minute. Just because, yeah, but the thing is with the gun, it was a cartridge, but it was not used. The bullet had never been shot. So it was like somebody jacked it and, it came out of the gun or whatever, but it was never shot. There's no way to connect a cartridge that was not shot to one specific gun. That is impossible. Absolutely impossible. If it was fired, then you can connect it to an actual gun. But I go back to what I was saying in the beginning. At the end of the day, a gun wasn't used in this killing. So that entire point is completely moot. I can go to the woods at any given time and find a bullet somewhere. So if I put a dead body over that bullet, does that mean that I got lucky? Or does that mean that odds are they're going to blame the guy with the bullet? No, they're going to test it. The fact that they can't really test a bullet that's never been shot out of a gun, there's no way they connected that to his specific gun, because according to the NRA, you can't do that. You can't connect a gun that hasn't been shot. So I just don't know. No, you can't. That's what I'm learning, is that you can't connect it if it's never been fired. It can belong to any Sig Sauer P226. Let me show you guys something else very interesting that I found. We'll get back to that. Hold on. Okay. So these murders happen between February 13th and February 14th of 2017. As you guys know, CrimeCon has been around for a long time. In 2018, on March 21st of CrimeCon, this is the, people that are running, I don't know if they're running the media, whatever. It's been over a year since 13-year-old Abigail Williams and 14-year-old Libby German were murdered while enjoying an unseasonably warm day in their small hometown of Delphi, Indiana, after school on February 13th. They actually didn't have school, so it wasn't after school. The two friends were dropped off to hike the Delphi Historic Trails in Carroll County, Indiana. 24 hours later, their bodies were discovered not far from the Moonon High Bridge, where Libby had uploaded the last picture taken of a friend to Snapchat. That's the one that everybody sees. Despite trail cam footage, eyewitness descriptions, and the relentless efforts of dozens of investigators from multiple jurisdictions, their killer remains at large. It's a story that's all too familiar to true crime enthusiasts, a small, closely knit town shaken to its core. Innocent lives ripped away too soon, a dedicated but thin spread local police chasing thousands of leads with no luck. Here's what I'm talking about. In the past year, investigators have released a trail cam photo and composite sketch of the primary suspect. So back in 2018, it was written and typed up at CrimeCon and other places that the video of Bridge Guy did not come from Libby's phone. It came right from the trail cam photo. And if it wasn't from Libby's phone, how did that get twisted to all of a sudden become Libby's phone? So I don't know if any longtime followers of this case have gone back to the basics and gone back to the beginning, but I bet you'll find more and more stuff that doesn't add up to how things have changed over the years. Because a lot of people, even I know, who've been following this case had no idea until Andrea Burkhart had said that it came from trail cam footage and not from Libby's phone, but it's right here. They said it back in 2018. It came right from a trail cam photo. So I don't know how that got twisted or changed to all of a sudden it came from Libby. Now, what they say Libby did have was the voice recordings, which Libby heroically captured on her cell phone. So somehow the police, now let me give you some context. Somehow, or not somehow, for some reason, the police took a trail cam guy. We don't even know if it was on the same day. We don't know if it's even connected. The guy could have just been walking on the trail cam that day. But because it didn't come from Libby's phone, just like when you see the picture, you don't see a guy gaining traction with them. You just don't see it. So why did the cops put it out years later that how did the cops change, or why did the cops all of a sudden change it? Why did the cops now say that it was coming from Libby's phone when it wasn't? It came from a trail cam photo, and that's what they said back in 2018. So to go one step further, so Libby got the video. So it had to have been the police, because I don't think the media has it. Why would the police take that video, the audio that Libby had, and put it to this guy who was just walking, who may or may not have anything to do with it? Why would they do that years later? They didn't do that initially. But why would they do that after the fact? And again, I say they didn't do it initially because in 2018, when this was written, they said it was two separate things. They said you have a guy on the trail cam, and then you have the voice recording. So putting that together, well, they're not. And that's why people that were in the courtroom were watching it saying, we didn't see his mouth move. He's not the one that said that because we never saw his mouth move. So what are the police hiding? What did they really find out that they had to change the whole narrative? That's my biggest question. Why did the narrative change over the years? And the people that control that are the police because they're the only ones with the evidence. And again, I'm not a genius. I'm sure other people have thought of this and put this out there. I just can't find it. At CrimeCon 2018, they said in the past year, investigators have released a trail cam photo and composite sketch. So that was at CrimeCon of 2018. I want to know when the narrative changed and why. Why did they put the cam footage together with the voice? I understand Gray has a lot of info. Gray has been in touch with the police. But if a police is corrupt, then Gray's only going to get corrupted info. And Gray is basing all of his info on a corrupt police station. And he is doing an unbelievable job on his testimony. However, he's doing it from... Okay, so you're telling me that crime cons is wrong, and people that are at the trial that also heard that it came from a trail cam, they're wrong too? I don't think so. Because Andrea Burkhart has the one that had stated it. I mean, she's doing like 4 or 5 hour lives, so I don't know which one. But she's the one that stated that they said at trial it came from a trail cam. And one of my Patreons had said, I feel like I've been lied to for 7 years. So you're telling me they're wrong at trial too? So you're trying to tell me they're wrong at CrimeCon? They're wrong at trial and all the experts are wrong? But you're right? And I'm not being argumentative. I'm just saying, come on now. They said it at the trial that it came from a trail cam photo. And I really want to know when the narrative changed. People at trial watched her video. The photos are from an enhanced clip. What do you mean? Oh, another thing I want to show you guys. Speaking of enhanced clip. I know, that's what I'm saying. Whatever day at trial it was discussed is probably when she did. Ask support with Steph Amber in Discord. She might know exactly when. But again, it says it right here from CrimeCon of 18 that investigators have released a trail cam photo. So my point is, hearing it at the trial was not the first time that people heard it. This was out there in 2018, which I found that very interesting. When law enforcement officers withhold important information such as, where was it? I've said all along that I'm in this role and breathing. We're not leaving the city of Delphi and Carroll County. We're just not. As we see in many cases, it's also easy to assume that the investigators of a small town, shoe leather police officers, inexperienced and ill-equipped to deal with the magnitude of such a heinous crime. These things don't happen, they always say. But this investigation is a joint effort between Delphi Police, Carroll County Sheriff's Department, Indiana State Police, and the FBI, along with thousands of web sleuths, volunteers, and experts. And despite the compelling evidence that has been released, if you ask me, it's the informant we don't know that's a testament to the top-notch police work that's going on behind the scenes. We don't know how the girls were killed or what kind of weapon, if any, was used. We don't know if the girls were essayed. We don't know the killer's motive or whether the attack was premeditated. We do, however, know the police have additional audio evidence that they have not released. When law enforcement officers withhold information such as this, there's a reason, and that reason is often to weed out the attention seekers or crazy who come forward to confess in a desperate attempt to garner a few minutes of infamy. And that's another thing. In 2018, they didn't know how the girls were killed, right? Of course, they had to have. He is definitely guilty. I disagree. I completely disagree. There's no evidence tying him to this crime. None. Zero. Zilch. There's no DNA tying him to this crime. I'm sorry, but from what I see, Richard Allen is not a genius. Richard Allen is not the type, hey, Debbie, is not the type to erase all DNA and erase everything there is and be able to not leave one fingerprint or one hair anywhere, not even a beard hair. There's nothing on the trees, there's nothing on the girls, there's nothing anywhere. And sadly, there's nothing tying anybody to them. Well, this didn't happen out of nowhere. Someone did this to them, which is why I say the person that did this to them is an extremely intelligent person who knows what he's doing, who or she who knows the law, who knows how to get rid of DNA, who knows how to clean a body, who knows how to move a body. And you can't tell me one person did all this. Not only can you not tell me that one person did all this, but you can't who had a video of him by the girl's phone? That's a lie. I don't know where you got that, Sweet Pea. That's a lie. There's no video of him by the girl's phone. Girl's phone was found underneath her body. So whoever told you there's a video of him by the girl's phone, that's a lie. And if it's not a lie, then I want to see definitive proof, because that's a lie. If they had that video, that would have been out a long time ago, like years ago. They would have put out unidentified man by Libby's phone. Oh, Nancy Grace is a fucking liar. I don't believe it. I don't. If there was legit video of him by the girl's phone, that would have been out a long time ago. I used to like Nancy Grace. I'm not going to bullshit you. I used to like her until I caught her blatantly lying about Stephen Avery. Like, blatantly lying. She went live and said that Stephen Avery told her he was guilty. It was total bullshit. Total bullshit. And I knew she was bullshitting. I've watched her once in a blue moon since then, but that's about it. They put it out years ago. What did they put out? Can you get me a link? Can you show me where to go to see this? You mean like his phone ping near her phone? And the genius that got away with this, that did this, also wasn't smart enough to take Libby's phone? How's that possible? Or even break the phone? Think about that. She said he admitted in 61 more murders. Who? Abby didn't have a phone. Oh, the video where he sits down the phone? Abby didn't have a phone. Only Libby had a phone. So if that came from Abby's phone video, then I know that's a blatant lie. Libby did not take a video of man on the bridge. That came from a trail cam. As far as I understand, there has never been a connection of phones between Richard Allen and Libby's phone. Yes. there was more to trial. And they say that they've been lied to for 7 years. And my point is, as I'm showing you, it was out there 7 years ago that investigator released a trail cam photo. Yes, he is clearly on the bridge. I agree with that. But I think there was trail cam photos. Trail cams. So why would they lie though? Either way, you see my point? Either way you want to look at it. There wasn't, it came from Libby's phone, it didn't come from Libby's phone. Either way you want to look at it. Why are there lies? Why are there discrepancies? That's my point. Yeah, this is from CrimeCon 2018. And then, according to Andrea Burkhart, they said it in trial. So why the lies? What are they covering up? That there's so many lies being told? Well, that's one of them. That's my main one. And also the gun. They're so worried about a gun. They're so worried about a gun when there wasn't a gun that killed them. It was a knife. Okay, so now, all right, so you're saying the person that wrote this had no idea what they were talking about. Okay, I'll give you that. Okay, I will totally give you that, Sonny. The person had no idea what they were talking about. So what about what was said in trial? Does the trial have no idea what they're talking about either? Sonny, are you Gray Hughes? Are you Gray under a fake name? So you guys are telling me that everybody is lying, but the cops are telling the truth. So all of this info is wrong. And let me go back and state something as well. The only reason why I even looked this up is because my Patreon had said that she was lied to for 7 years. She felt like she was lied to for 7 years, that it came from Libby's phone when it didn't. So that's why I started researching. Okay, maybe she's right. Maybe it didn't come from Libby's phone. So that's how I ended up here. And I'm just showing you guys that when did the narrative change? Because back then, in 2018, the narrative was it came from a trail cam. So I just want to know when the narrative changed. The voice came from Libby, but they're saying the composite sketch came from a trail cam. That's what it says right here. That the audio came from the voice recording came from her cell phone. But that lines up with people saying that were in court that stated that you don't see Bridge Guy's mouth moving at all. So he's not the one that said it. That's according to what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing. That his mouth never moved. All right, so let me look. Let's go one step further. Then I'm going to play you guys something else. Hold on. I want to check something. All right, that didn't help me. Hold on. Okay, Indiana jurors were shown 43 seconds of a video showing bridge guy. It says taken from Libby's phone on February 13th, according to Fox. It says audio released by police came from Libby's phone. We know the audio did. See, everyone is talking about the audio. It says photo and audio. Hold on. All right, 2 days following. I thought they said 2 days prior. 2 days following Libby and Abby's disappearance, Indiana State Police released photos of a man who was seen on hiking trails around the time the girls were there and asked the public to help identify him. The pictures taken on Libby's phone showed the unidentified man heading across a bridge and towards the teens. While police announced they were seeking to identify the person in question, it wasn't until 4 days later when they officially named him a suspect. About a week later, state police investigators released an audio recording of a male saying down the hill. Yeah, nobody even knows if these two people are connected. 2 years after the deaths, Indiana released video and audio of the man they believed was responsible for the murders, as well as a new composite sketch. All right. So, hold on. No, it doesn't make I don't know. Something's just not right. Yeah, oh, that's what I want to show you guys. Hold on. I know when I was talking about this the other day, people were like, oh, he's got a fanny pack on. He doesn't actually. Hold on. Not only does he not have a fanny pack, what I thought was like fat, he actually has something in his pocket. He's got something long in his pocket, and there's no fanny pack. That's his hand going into his pocket, and there's no fanny pack. It's a brown shirt. But there's definitely something in his pocket, and it's long. And I don't even think that's a pistol. That looks way bigger than a pistol. So I just happened to find that interesting because we were talking about that the other day. And I was like, oh, he's got a fanny pack. And, that was like a fat roll. But no, I was totally wrong. Yeah, the sketch did change. However, I was watching something this morning and they laid one over the other and it fit perfectly. It just looked like one was younger. So I have no idea what that is in his pocket though. But whatever it is, it's pretty big. And no fanny pack. Just a brown shirt. And a hunter's hat. So I don't know that much about guns to know what type of gun that would be. I mean, to me personally, that looks like a tennis ball, like holder. You know what I mean? I mean, I know it's not, but that's what it reminds me of. Like 3 or 4 tennis balls. No, his hands are in his front pockets. His gun or whatever this is definitely in a jacket pocket. Two totally different things. Because you could see his hand right here. And his other hand is right here. On a personal note, I also don't think that somebody who is stalking someone is walking with their hands in their pockets. Like casually. So I'm not convinced this is even the guy. That he's the killer. I'm absolutely not convinced of that. Could be, but I don't think so. Yeah, but Rosemary, what I'm saying is that you I don't believe this was done by one person. And for someone that never had a criminal record, for somebody that has never been in trouble with the police, it's very odd that they would commit such a heinous crime and know how to get away with it. Not just commit it, but know how to get rid of DNA, know how to get rid of things, know not to leave any evidence or any DNA or any markings that tie you to the victims. Not many people know how to do that. The fact that it didn't look like either one of them fought. Richard Allen went to the police station 3 days later and didn't have any scratches on him. Because he was there. I could be walking down the road. All right, I'll give you a better example. If I take my kids hiking up the mountain and somebody is murdered on that mountain, just because I'm there, does that mean that I did it? Yeah, but if there was only one person, you don't think they could have fought back? He said it was there wearing the exact same clothes. Yeah, but where did you see that? Because I haven't heard that. I don't know. I disagree with that. I disagree with, and I'm not saying he's innocent. I'm not saying he's guilty. I'm saying I don't know, but I have questions. So let me just make that really clear. I am not at all saying Richard Allen is innocent, nor am I saying he did this. I don't know, and I have lots of questions. But the biggest question that I do have is I don't believe that a CVS worker can eliminate all DNA, even on the knife. Why is there no DNA on the knife that cut their throats? Why is there no DNA on the clothes? Why were Libby's hands perfectly clean? Why was she spared and didn't go through what Abby went through? Think about it. But how did a CVS worker, a Walmart worker become such a mastermind that he knew exactly what to do, how to do it, and not leave 1 ounce of DNA? I just can't. Yeah, Libby's hands were bloody, Abby's weren't. Abby's hands were cleaner than clean. And her clothes were wet. So she was washed off. Yeah, you're right, Rosemary, but that was a bloody scene. There was DNA. There was lots of blood. They found him. This doesn't feel like that. This feels like a setup. This feels like they needed someone to blame. And they looked at circumstance, and here we are. And I hope you're right, Sweet Pea. But I don't agree that this man either did this alone, or I just don't see him as a criminal mastermind. He doesn't have the mental capacity to be a mastermind. And that's the other thing. He broke under pressure. He broke by the cops. He's not a criminal mastermind. He wouldn't know to let the blood soak. He was also home that night, and I don't believe that they were killed that night on the 13th. I believe they were killed on the 14th because all of their family and the police and the fire chief were all looking all on the 13th. I was watching something this morning, and they said that the cop or something had called the fire chief at like 2 a.m. and asked him to go look more. They looked in that area, and they didn't find anything until the next day. Then they found stuff. So that leads me to believe that the killing happened on the 14th. Maybe had him tied up on the 13th, maybe something. Maybe he had muffled them, who knows? Maybe they were in the water. Well, they had to be somewhere. They had to be dumped in the creek or something because all her clothes were wet. So she got wet somehow. So they were moved somewhere. At what time they were moved, who knows? But they were definitely moved at some point because all of Abby's clothes were wet. They wouldn't have gotten wet if they weren't in the water at some point. So they were somewhere. Where, I don't know, but they were definitely somewhere. And that's the one thing. You guys are saying a lot of stuff, but yeah, but you don't know where they were prior to that. That's my point. You don't know what happened in between the bridge and their final resting place. You don't know where they were. They could have been in Ron Logan's house. Nobody knows. What they do know is that there weren't tons of branches broken along the way or something like that. That they do know. But nobody knows where they were from the time they left the bridge to their final resting place. They were in water at some point. At some point, they were in water. How her clothes got wet, well, they had to be in water. And she was alive when she was bleeding because they said that she had tears mixed with blood on her face. Yes. Let me say it again because people are not understanding what I'm saying. You are correct. Their final resting place was where they were killed. Libby was moved, I think they said like 20 feet or something, or 20 inches. It was a small way. But what we don't know is where they were and what time they were from the bridge when they met the guy or guys or whoever to their final resting place. They could have been taken to, I'm just saying Ron Logan's house because they were on his property. They could have been in the basement of Ron Logan's house. And then in the morning, when they saw that nobody was looking for them, is when they brought them to their final resting place. Nobody knows where they were in between. That's what I'm saying. And there's no evidence of them, being dragged somewhere thousands of feet or hundreds of feet. There's no footprints showing they went from the water to wherever. Now you have to assume that Abby died after she got dressed with Libby's clothes on. I highly doubt all of that happened within, let's say, 30 minutes of them, then getting killed. I think there were hours that something else was happening. With who, I don't know. How many people, I don't know. But I absolutely believe that they were somewhere between the bridge and the 14th when they were found, or when they were actually killed. Why they can't put together a rough time of death also seems odd to me. Because you're in the woods. Bugs a lot of times can determine times of death, at what time this bug eats you and what time that bug eats you. I forgot what it's called, but they know from the bugs as they can estimate what time you died. So why aren't they able to determine that with them? That's one of my other questions. How come in every other death in every part of the world, they can get a rough estimate of when someone died based on the bugs? Forget decomposition, just the bugs. But in Delphi, they can't tell you that? That's a red flag to me. Why can't you tell me when they died? Or a rough estimate within 2 hours, 3 hours. So that was another red flag question I had. Why can't the cops figure this out? Why can't the FBI figure this out? It can't say it's weather, can't say it's because of it. Entomology. I knew it was some with an E, but I couldn't remember it. I didn't want to say it wrong, but entomology. And especially because it's in the woods. So it should have even been more of a reason that they'd be able to find it, that they'd be able to determine. And they're not giving any answers, saying they don't know the time of death. That's ridiculous. It is. That's ridiculous to me. Every other case, they can figure it out. But there was one last thing that I wanted you guys to see. Hold on. And especially the ones that think he's guilty without a doubt. Hang on. Okay. Here's another thing, which anyone that's familiar with the case, maybe you guys can help me out with this one. According to one of the news reports, it says that prosecutors say that he confessed to other people, including inmates, at the maximum security state prison where he's being held. He's not around other inmates. He's never been around other inmates. So that's a lie. He's been in solitary confinement. He has not had the pleasure of interacting with other inmates. So how is he confessing to other inmates when he hasn't even been around other inmates? He's been in solitary confession from the second he got there. They have him even Brian Kohlberger isn't housed at a maximum state facility and locked in solitary confinement. Either was Wade Wilson. These are all people who murdered 2 people. But he's already in a maximum state penitentiary in solitary confinement. And he's been there for years, 2-3 years already. He hasn't been around other people. He hasn't been around other inmates. And they're all saying that he allegedly made 60 confessions. Nobody makes 60 confessions in the history, even John Wayne Gacy, who was super proud of his killings. He did not make 60 confessions. Nobody sits there and makes all these confessions unless their brain has been so fucked up that they just do. And that's exactly what they did to him. They made him a mental case. And I also want to know, this is another question I have. Who is paying for his very expensive lawyers? Because someone said that he doesn't have a public defender, like he's got high dollar lawyers. Who's paying for them? Anyone know? Was this it? Yeah, this was it. All right. He had lawyers who were forced off case. These ones are new. But who's paying for it? I heard they're not public defenders. That they are legit, like they're high dollar attorneys. Who forced his other attorneys off?
To the 911 call, ID'd someone outside the address with a gun in his hand. for 48th and First Ave.
About 4, the caller is advising that it's going to be a white male, approximately 6 foot tall, white tank top shirt, and long dark pants. All right, we actually got somebody stepping out of the house.
White male, 6 feet tall, and wearing a white tank top. This was how the deputies who responded to the call described the shooter. They also saw a muzzle flash and heard the shot during a 2-hour standoff that began around 7:45 p.m. and even brought a SWAT response to area streets. The two people arrested were Larry Rothy and Richard Barker. Larry had no prior felony record and only had a few traffic offenses. Richard, on the other hand...
Yeah, I remember that. That is, I didn't realize his lawyers were forced off though. You know what? I should have followed up with that because I did wonder over time, like what happened with that. I remember that.
And had a felony record, but either way, both were brought in for interrogation. Now, before we get into Richard's interrogation, we want to focus on Larry first. Both were interrogated in different rooms at the same time, which means that everything that Larry is being interrogated about is somewhat linked with what Richard said to defend his side.
Who's pointing the finger at me?
Now, let me explain something to you, Woody, because I'm not going to waste that much time talking to you here. Okay, I'll tell you what happened today. I'll tell you some of what happened today.
I didn't shoot nobody.
Listen to me. I'm going to tell you what happened, okay? We got a call from a neighbor about somebody discharging a firearm, okay?
Yeah.
From that point on, this nosy neighbor, or whatever we're going to call him, has monitored, and I'm not going to tell you how, okay, just think about it, with today's technology, monitored what was going on in front of this residence that they were calling to complain about until police arrived. There was a discharge, okay, of a weapon as police pulled up. I need to find out if that firearm was discharged to kill a police officer, to assassinate, murder a police officer. Did it go out accidentally?
The first thing you may have noticed is that he's not wearing a white tank top, which the shooter was wearing. That's because the white male, 6 feet tall and wearing a white tank top was Richard. So he's actually telling the truth here. The second thing you may have noticed is that even though the detective kept telling him that the caller documented him or recorded him, he never confirmed that it was Larry who he recorded. Again, we're not jumping to any conclusions here, but it seems like he's pushing him to confess under the fear that he was somewhat recorded. While Larry, or any ordinary victim, doesn't have permission to lie in an interrogation, just remember that the detective can.
There's two different spectrums here. Discharging a firearm in public is a misdemeanor. You understand that?
Right.
That's a misdemeanor. Attempting to assassinate a responding police officer to a disturbance call is an attempted murder. So that's what I'm trying to figure out here. Everything else we know.
Right.
Everything else we know.
I didn't do it. I wasn't shooting the gun.
I'm going to tell you a little bit.
And as far as I know, the first round that went off, he shot it at the ground.
Who?
Richard.
Okay. Were you outside with Richard?
I was at the little, table we had outside. I was on the right side, he was on the left, and he shot right in the ground, just like that.
Okay.
And I was like, it rang my ears so bad that it was like, this is fucking nuts, man. I went in the house, and 2 more rounds went off.
And who's holding the gun?
Richard. I don't have no prints on the gun. I never touched that gun.
Okay. Larry, I'm going to tell you, again, we got a call about...
And that is probably exactly what happened, is the way he just said it. But let's watch to see what happens.
Richard initially discharging the firearm. Okay.
This is true.
Okay. Once he discharges the firearm, there's a period, there's a lapse. Okay. As police pull up, this witness, this complainant, the person that called police, is documenting what is going on. Okay? He's documenting. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you?
That they're pointing the finger at me?
No, forget that. They're documenting the fact of whatever's going on in front of the house. Just with a camera, with a cell phone, you can record shit nowadays. What kind of cell phone do you have?
I've got a Metro phone.
All right. That's not going to do the job. This is my everyday phone. About the majority of people nowadays have smartphones. I could take a picture of you right now.
In 2012, cameras on phones were garbage.
Or video, and there it is, that fucking clear.
All right.
Okay? Again, after the person calls police, he begins to document, maybe film, what's going on in front of this house. So it's one of the easiest investigations I've had. It's fucking there. And you can't lie about that, bro. I'm giving you an opportunity.
I'm not lying.
Listen to me. I'm giving you an opportunity. Listen to me. Listen to me. I'm giving you an opportunity, okay, right now to convince me what your true intention was. Shit happens, okay? If you get scared and you're holding a firearm and you get scared and you got your finger close to that trigger, okay, and you see police coming around the corner, and you think you're going to get in trouble, or maybe you've had a few drinks or whatever, and you fucking muscle reaction, you might accidentally discharge a firearm. And that's okay. Discharging the firearm in public is a misdemeanor. And it was probably a stupid thing to do, but fortunately today, nobody got killed. Nobody got hurt. Okay? But you need to convince me that this was accidental and not around intended to kill the responding deputy to this disturbance. Okay? Everything else we already know.
Yeah, Richard did it accidentally. Shoot that into the ground.
Initially. There was another round fired minutes after that.
You just shot it in the ground. That's all I know.
Okay, so explain to me. Tell me your side of the story. And tell me your side. What were you doing? You were outside in your room with Richard. He initially shoots the gun into the ground.
Yeah, I was having a beer, and then he shot it in the ground. That was so loud, man. It made my ear bleed like it hurt bad. You know, and I went in to get a beer, and he shot it two more times.
And then he's on the ground trying to look for the shell casing.
I don't know about that. I came in the house and sat on the couch, you know, and started watching TV.
Do you know what kind of weapon that was that he shot initially?
The silver gun. It's kind of big. Looked like a 45.
Looked like a 45?
With, like some laser thing underneath it. I didn't touch it. I didn't want to touch it. I didn't want to handle it. And I couldn't believe he was firing it off. I said, no. Unbelievable, man. This is crazy.
If you focus on the detective's statements, you'll notice that he's pushing to look beyond whether Larry pulled the trigger or not. He's compelling him to explain whether it was an accidental discharge or intentional, even though Larry keeps saying that he didn't shoot it in the first place. When doing research for this video, I had to download a PDF that had many important details about this case. This document was actually available for free. Just had to give my name, phone number, and email. Not a big deal, right? Wrong. Have you ever heard the saying, if you don't know what's the product, you're the product? In today's world, every click, every sign up, every transaction, all this data is being collected, stored, and sold. Not by one, but by hundreds of data brokers. On top of that, massive breaches at major platforms that because of data that you really don't want floating out there. 60% off. The fact that he didn't do it.
So if you ever had your firearm on, you say Richard's gun, your fingerprints are going to come back on there.
No, they're not, because I never touched it.
You never touched it?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm sitting 2 feet away from Richard when he's firing that round.
You're gonna have that. And when you saw the cops, you said, "Oh
what
shit!"
the hell are you talking about? I did not try and kill a cop.
Okay. Well, that's what you need to tell me. That's what you need to tell me. Don't tell me you didn't have a firearm in your hand.
I did not have a firearm in my hand.
We can prove that. We're beyond that point, buddy. We're beyond that, man.
I was in the living room watching TV. I was on the couch.
You said you were outside when he fired 2 shots. He went outside, he fired 1, you went inside to get a beer, you came back out, he fired 2 shots into the ground. Come on, man.
No, it was something like that.
But no, not something like that. Tell me what it was. Let me tell you something. You're not fooling anybody here.
I went under the chair. And then I went inside to get a beer, and then as I was proceeding to walk through the kitchen to the outdoor, all of a sudden 2 more cats go off.
What did you do with the gun?
So,
What did you do with the gun afterwards?
I have no idea. I put it in the case and put it in his room.
Did you see him take it into his room?
What you need to do is convince me that this was an accident and you weren't trying to kill a cop. That's what you need to do. That's what you need to think about right now. Okay? That's what you need to convince me of. Because that's going to determine what kind of charge I'm going to put on you.
I didn't do this. What the hell is the matter with you, man? You're sitting there trying to tell me I did this. I did not do this, man. Richard had the gun the whole fucking time.
Hold on. You want water? Huh?
To his truth, they decide to quote Richard's statement to him, which he gave before Larry's interrogation.
I was sitting there speaking to Rich.
Yeah.
He's saying that you brought that gun into the house. That he shot it tonight, that you brought it into the house. Where did that gun come from?
Really?
Yes.
I don't know where it came from. He brought it home.
From?
It... across on the corner house over there. Because his house is pretty much on a corner. So it was a corner house on the opposite side of the road. I saw an officer there. And then Michael came in and told me there was a cop down at the end of the road. So we went out and looked that way. There was an officer down there with the lights flashing. Yeah, the pop made my right ear ring like mad.
Okay. How long were you in the Army? 3 years?
If you're watching the time, he has been in this interrogation for hours. Hours.
Yeah, this is a
And when you shoot a gun, when you shoot a gun, you're right-handed, right? So when you shoot a gun, let's just use a rifle, for example. When the round is extracted and the shell flies out, what ear hurts the most, your left or your right?
My right ear.
Your right ear. So tell me why, if you're sitting to his right, your right ear hurts if the gunshot is coming to your left. Can you explain that to me?
Well, I got hearing damage in my left ear.
Okay, you got hearing damage in your left ear. That's an interesting point, isn't it, Jimmy? The only ear that fucking hurts, including when you have ear damage, is the one that you hear it the closest to the firearm, isn't it? You were in the Army. Don't fucking bullshit me.
That was 30 years ago.
I don't want to hear fucking 30 years ago, pal. Don't roll your eyes at me like you're a fucking 5-year-old. We have an eyewitness that shows you, okay, you come outside after the 3 shots are fired, watches you take a level platform, one hand, boom, and shoots across the top of those bushes. That's what the fuck we've been doing for the time that we've been gone. We've been going out verifying your story. We found the gun. okay? And we're not here to fuck with you anymore. We are not here to fuck with you anymore, Woody, or whatever the fuck your nickname is. I've been being patient with you. I've been listening to what you have to say, because that's our job. We poke holes in fucking bullshit. Yeah, he came outside and he shot into the ground 3 times. But he's not the one who came out and leveled that fucking gun and shot over the top of that hedgerow right in front of the front door. We had crime scene coming. Hold on a second. Don't fucking bullshit me.
Dude,
Dude, I'm not a fucking dude. I'm a detective. I went out there and did my fucking job, and so did my partner. Don't ever fucking call me dude again. I'm a detective. I got a fucking job to do.
Sir, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, you do.
That gun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah? What is that GSR test going to tell us? That's gunshot residue, by the way. What's it going to tell us? When we process that firearm, CSI has that firearm right now. What's it going to tell us? We're going to run your prints. We're going to process that fucking gun, and you know what it's going to tell us? Your prints are on that gun. Now, when we present all this shit to the fucking judge, and your lawyer's going, yeah, dude, maybe you shouldn't have fucked with these detectives.
I'm not fucking with you. I didn't touch that gun whatsoever.
You did.
I know what I did.
You?
I know what I did. I drank beer and watched frickin' Woodson shoot the shit in the ground.
Right. Okay. And
I'm
after that happened, you went inside.
I went, woo, boom.
And you came outside and you shot another round.
I did not. I didn't do it.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you
I
did.
did not.
This is like I'm dealing with a 5-year-old, Jimmy. That's what I can't understand.
There's people saying you did. Your buddies are saying you fucking did. You fired the 4th shot. Now, we need to know if you tried to kill that deputy or did you just discharge a firearm? And that's the misdemeanor. We need to find out. We have a good idea, but we want to hear it from you. We have a good idea what your intention was, based on the trajectory of the round. We need to
I
hear
wasn't
from
trying to hurt nobody. I didn't fire the shot. I don't remember firing the shot.
This is what fucking happened, bro. Okay? Your buddy's out there, Richard. You guys are fucking hammered. You're drinking. He ends up shooting the rounds like you described, which is good. You're telling us that far. He shoots the one. You guys go inside for funny, get another beer, come out. He pops another 2 rounds. Okay? And funny, it's all fun and games, it's fucking cool, we're drunk, and you come out and you unintentionally go out there and just fucking fire your own round. And at that point, we have witnesses observing this shit because they've already heard 3 before rounds. Okay, there's witnesses that observe it. Deputies already on the other side of the street watching you, setting up on the house. The guy has a fucking rifle trained at the front door because he doesn't know what the fuck's going on. And unfortunately, this deputy had the wrong address as he pulls up, and he's the one coming up to the target house, your house, and while he's pulling up, the round goes off, so he thinks they're trying to shoot at him, which we don't believe is the intent. But we need to hear from you because only you know what you were thinking in your head. You can't tell us that you didn't have a firearm, that you didn't shoot a round, because we can prove that. Now, we need to know if you were just being a fucking jack-off.
I didn't, man.
Yeah, well, yeah, you did. Yeah, you did, bro. Yeah, you did. There's 4 shell casings out there, bro. You shot the 4th one. You need to tell us what your intent was.
It wasn't to do any harm.
Okay? So you were just fucking off? Did you make a stupid decision today to fucking... You were drinking, you were drunk, fuck it, I want to crack one out too.
If I did that, then it was a stupid fucking thing.
Yeah, it was stupid.
But I don't remember doing it.
And we don't believe you were trying to kill the deputy, but you need to be fucking honest so we can put all this shit together and say, hey, look, the guy was a jackass, he committed a misdemeanor and cracked the round off, but we have no solid concrete proof that shows that he was actually trying to shoot at this deputy. It's just the way it happened, the way they were dispatched, and the way that this deputy was coming, and it seemed like he could have been shot at. The deputy didn't even know that you were shooting. He just heard the shit. He didn't know he was in front of the fucking house. But if you keep lying to us,
I'm not lying.
Yeah.
Now, this guy's only been being interrogated for 6 hours, hey, Jen, and you see his story change, where now he's like, oh, maybe I did do it. I don't remember if I did it, because he knows he's got to admit it, or the cops are not going to fucking let him go.
Why are you using FFS? Where'd you learn that?
What? Why are you on my phone?
I didn't. It was on the counter. I looked at it and I saw abbreviation and I was like, since my mom talked like a teenager.
I always use FFS.
Really?
Your black sweatshirt's on the counter.
Thanks. I didn't know you knew that.
Is this the untold? No, I'm showing you false interrogations. I'm showing an example of how someone does a false interrogation and how the cops actually make you think that you're doing something that you didn't do, and how they convince you to admit something that you didn't do. That's the point.
Can't remember.
Yeah, you fucking can.
No, I can't.
Yeah, you can. Why? Because you were drinking?
Drinking on top of doing my medication.
Yeah. But you do that every day.
Probably phased me out. No, I don't do it every day.
Oh.
I don't drink every day. Not like Richard.
Well, you fired that shot, brother.
That has to be the most heated interrogation we've seen so far. But just goes to show you how far the detectives are ready to go to get him to confess. They got into an extremely aggressive stance by cornering him, sitting upright, yelling at him, and the closest they got to him was that out of fear, he said, quote, "can't remember." Now, before we get to what happened to Larry, let's just take you through a few snippets of how the same detectives interrogated Richard Barker, the man in the white tank top whose family is full of sheriff's deputies who are assigned to protect judges.
I'm Detective Lawrence. This is Detective Supervisor Ruben. Okay.
I met Ruben tonight.
You met him
Sergeant
already?
Ruben, yes.
Okay. He's good people, isn't he?
Yep. You all guys are.
You know, I'm gonna suck up to him because he's my supervisor. And then obviously you have your room, right?
Yes.
The other point of showing this video is that they just said this kid is protected. Even though they said that the shooter had a white tank top on, because his family is connected to the police, well, they can't put it on him. So they're going to put it on this other guy, even though this other guy has nothing to do with it. But because this guy has connections to the police and the judges and everyone else, well, they're not going to put it on this guy. They can't. That's what I'm saying about, that's my connection with Richard Allen. Richard Allen is a nobody. He's not connected to the police. He's not connected to judges. So they continually caused him to lose his mind, so he admits something he didn't do, using these same techniques, because the real killer, the real man that did this, or women or men that did this, must be connected to police, must be connected to judges. That's why they have to put it on someone else.
Yes, sir. That's a blanket.
That's all we got. This is one of those space age ones.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were going to, shit, I'm freezing. I get cold real easy. I like the heat, not the cold.
It looks like you've been out in the sun all day.
I ride a motorcycle, so...
What's up with that tattoo, man?
What's that?
Sounds right. Anarchy tattoo?
It's a tattoo that was given to me
Okay.
by my club.
All right.
Okay.
But we'll get to that.
But I'm not with them anymore. I'm out of that
All right.
scene.
We'll get to all that in a little while. Okay, because I ride a bike and I know a little bit about all that shit, okay? And
Right.
just because of some of the bars that I find out in and stuff like that, but we'll get to that in a little while. All right.
I'm going to tell you guys the truth. I was out there shooting my pellet gun.
Okay, well, all right.
And, that was it. And, if there's anything else, I don't know what to tell you.
Okay.
And that was it. And I'm not going to lie about it. I have no reason to. I was out there being, silly, shooting at a couple of beer cans. I had 4 beers tonight.
feeling a little oats in me, and I was shooting at him. Next thing I know, Jesus, I was in bed, and all of a sudden I got spotlights in my house and every other goddamn thing. So that's it. I mean, guys can have the guns. I don't care anymore because I don't want to see them again, because if this is what it caused me, I don't want to be there again.
Richard.
So that's it.
Richard, I've been doing this job a long time.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I work in New York City, and I work here. I've talked to a lot of different people. I grew up summers in Massachusetts, all right, in Newton, Waltham, every place, Sharon.
Right.
So I know a lot of people from Massachusetts. All right, the thing is that I'm going to tell you right now, while you were out on your lawn, some of your neighbors called the police. They listen to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
People started videotaping. Okay, everybody's got a camera now. That's why the police came there in full force. All right. I know somebody had a gun, a real gun, not a pellet gun. So what I want you to do is I need you to start thinking about your house, okay, and your freedom. You need to start telling us the truth about what happened tonight.
Well,
Because there was a real gun tonight besides the pellet guns that are over there. And I need you to tell me the truth about what happened.
I don't know.
No, you do know.
No, I don't.
You do know. All right. So you come home. Now, it's getting dark out.
I'm going to tell you, Sergeant, right now, and Sergeant Reuben, came home, had a couple of beers, had a little bit of turkey, went outside, shot some beer cans, went in, had a little bit more turkey, and went to bed.
Okay.
And then the next thing, I get calls. I get knock on the door. All the cops are all over the place. I don't know what those for.
Okay, when did you...
The people across the street are always lighting off fireworks and every other goddamn thing. You know, so I'm going, oh, okay, what's going on? That's when I came out and had a cigarette. And the next thing I know.
Okay, when did you see him with the firearm today?
What's that?
When did you see him?
I didn't see him with a firearm today.
When did you see him with the firearm?
I didn't see him with it today.
When did you see him with it? When was the last time you saw him with it?
About 3 weeks ago.
Okay, how do you know he had it today?
I don't know if he had it today.
You told me he said he put it in the...
He said that he was going to put it in the attic, and I said, get it the fuck out of my house.
When was that?
When I first saw that he had it. About 3 weeks ago.
So what makes you believe he put it in the attic tonight?
I have no idea. I have no idea. You can go check. You guys find it, take it. I don't want it in my house. I don't want the pellet guns in my house. You can have them all. If, in fact, that's where he put it. He told me that's where.
What did you guys discuss while the police were outside your house, you and Woody?
Nothing. Sergeant Reuben, nothing. Nothing. I don't want no guns in my house, period.
Coffee should be here in a few minutes.
Okay, thanks, man.
Sergeant Reuben, just take me home. You can drive. I'll go with you guys. You can handcuff me.
I know, but because, listen, you have to understand, because he lives there, he's a resident, you can't give me permission to search something for him. That's why we need to get a judge to sign a warrant. So that's what's going to take a little while.
Motherfucker. So what? I rent the fucking house out, and I'm fucking sitting here like this.
I understand, but that's what happens when you shoot something that looks realistic in front of your house, a BB gun with a laser. Neighbors see you, and then all of a sudden a real gunshot goes off. That's what happens, right? I mean, can't you see where you have to take some responsibility for this? You know.
Go to jail?
No, nobody's saying you're going to jail right this second.
Yeah, I'm sure if you guys are holding me this fucking long, you're gonna fucking put me in jail.
I already told you that if you did not fire the shot tonight, there's a good chance that you're not going to jail. We are investigating this, and I have to protect. When you're in this facility, you have to be. You saw how you were handcuffed, right? You have to be shackled to the floor so you don't run out of this building while we're investigating this. You understand?
I didn't shoot.
I can ask a question.
I shot a pellet gun tonight. That's what I shot.
Okay. So somebody could have mistaken that as being a real gun, correct?
I guess, yeah.
Okay.
That's why I don't want him in my house anymore. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. I'm sitting here. I'm sick to my stomach. I'm fucking should be home in bed. I got my diabetes to worry about, and this is stressing the shit out of me because I rent fucking rooms out.
That sounds cool. I mean, I could loosen it if you want. So I'm gonna loosen it?
What are you gonna loosen it? Where am I going? Fuck.
Unbelievable. This is how they interrogated someone who admitted to shooting the gun. They even offered to loosen his cuffs, while at the same time Larry Rothy was cornered, yelled at, and forced into confessing. After poor Larry faced first-hand lies and corruption from the Broward County Sheriff's Department, he spent 4 years in prison. All of this started with a 911 call about Richard Barker firing a real gun, something he confirmed and confessed in his interrogation. But this was how an innocent man was put behind bars through fear, lies, and corruption.
And that happens every day. Over 20,000 people are innocent that are sitting behind bars due to false confessions. So for all of those that think Richard Allen confessed and blah, 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 if you don't think they tore him a new asshole to confess, you're crazy. Martin Tankleff is another one. I got to find that video. He'll go through his interrogation as well. 17 hours. I did a interview with him a couple of years back. The audio is not the greatest, but he tells it from his own words how they interrogated him after 17 hours to admit to killing his parents when he never did it. That false confession made him spend 17 years behind bars. So don't rely on the fact that Richard Allen has confessed and that's why you believe it, because all the evidence points otherwise. All the evidence points away from him, not to him. So just keep that in mind. Michael Crow is another one. Chris McDonough tried to convince Michael Crow that he killed his sister. Almost got it out of him. Literally almost got it out of him. And Michael Crow, if not for a stroke of luck, would have been in jail for the rest of his life. Thank God he wasn't, because he didn't do it. So, point being is that I walk away from this live with my questions unanswered, but I want to know how Richard is this mastermind, how Richard Allen is this mastermind of not leaving one trace of DNA, which I just find almost impossible, like literally almost impossible. I want to know about the trail cam, when the story changed, why the story changed, and I want to know what proof there is that he actually did it, because I don't see it. And again, I also want to know if anybody else thinks a cop did this, that it was a cop or someone connected. Is a mastermind or looking the other way of the truth? That's possible too. That's definitely possible too. But I don't know how to look into it further. But I really want to know if somehow a cop is behind this. Because a cop would know how to get rid of DNA. A cop would know how to do a setup. A cop would know which land to bring them on. And a cop would know how to set somebody else up. So, and that gun is highly used by police officers. So, if anybody has any, like I said, I'm new to the case, but I do wonder over the years if anybody had followed that path, that it was a cop, and if so, are there videos about it? It's just something I was thinking about today while I was driving. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do a pop on live this afternoon and just talk about it, get it off my mind while it's fresh. Check out the mayor at the time, Shane Evans, who now works for prosecution. Okay. But I'm going to go live again tonight. So if anybody has that information or knows of a YouTube video or something that goes down that path, I would love to know. And I would love to see it. And because I haven't been able to find it. And I've looked and I have not been able to find it. So I'm going to be live around 9:30. Right now I got candles to finish, but I will be live around 9:30. And Ghost, I will look into that for later. I mean, let me also say, I know that there's so many rabbit holes in this case that people that have been following it for years have been down all these different rabbit holes. I get all that. I get the rabbit holes. And I get that I have not gone down the rabbit holes. But I have too many questions. And I'm going to go back to say what I said yesterday, and I mean this wholeheartedly. How are so many intelligent, and I mean really intelligent people, lawyers, doctors, cops, ex-cops, how are so many people so divided on this case? You have someone like Gray Hughes against someone like Andrew Burkhart. Both are extremely intelligent. Both are highly educated. And yet they are night and day on this case. That is so rare. It is so extremely rare to be that night and day. Documents that attorney Melanie Little had read yesterday. Mind-blowing. Now, my Patreon said that she was on my panel last year discussing those same documents. So I didn't know those were the same documents. But they definitely show ulterior motives. They definitely show ulterior theories. And theories that make a lot more sense than the ones that came up afterwards. So again, I'm going to straight, I am new to the case and I have a lot of questions. And like I said, I'm sure there's rabbit holes people have gone down that I haven't gone down. But my biggest question, like literally my biggest question, is how do so many highly educated people have such differing opinions? This should be a shut case, open and shut case. Okay, he did it, he didn't do it. I've never seen so many people of that caliber have so many mixed feelings and so many mixed emotions. So that makes me want to look into why. Why are there so many mixed emotions? Why are there so many people on so many different sides? That's the rabbit hole that I've been down. That's what's fueling me for this case, is to figure that out and to find the answers, not to solve the case, but to find the answers, because that's what's fueling me. How is it so different? You look at someone like Kohlberger, anyone with a brain figures he's guilty. There's no debate. There's no, yeah, you'll have a couple of people, they're not the most educated. We've seen that in other cases. I'm trying to think of the case that I'm thinking of off the top of my head. Oh, Wade Wilson. It's come out that all these people that think Wade Wilson is innocent are as dumb as a box of rocks, who know nothing. I mean, they really are just dumbasses. So I would expect that from dumbasses. But Delphi's not like that. Delphi is not showing dumbasses. They're showing extremely intelligent, educated people with such different opinions. I want to know more about the catfish stuff. I think that somehow is involved. I would have to look into that because I know briefly what you're talking about, but I'm not 100% sure. That, are you talking about that they may have met someone and someone lured them because someone was catfishing them and that's how they got killed? Someone told me that semi-story yesterday. Yeah. And I was also told that someone went up there and someone went on a YouTube panel and said that Richard Allen got fired from Walmart for sexual harassment. And I heard that was not true. That the girl or the person that said it kept anonymous. There's no proof of it or anything. Yeah, KK. Keegan Klein or whatever. And we can totally get into this later. He didn't get fired, he quit. But I'm saying that someone had told me the story, but I heard that this all came from some girl, some random person on YouTube, which could be anybody. The guy who has an account was near where Richard went by his mom's house. Cloud chaser, yeah. That's what I was told. But I haven't verified anything. But I'm just saying, something like that, if that was real, would come up in trial. They would definitely use that. But I did hear about the catfish. And that Keegan Klein had gone down there. They believe that Keegan Klein, I guess it was Gray's theory, I'm assuming. Hey, Criminal Med. As I know she watches Gray, the person that told me, so I'm assuming it was Gray's theory. But I haven't heard it myself. But it had something to do with the catfish. The hair, yes. I don't really understand that. And I'm going to tell you why. And I've thought about this in depth. The clothes were wet. This is iffy to me. It's odd. The clothes were wet. So how did a hair get in her hand after the clothes were either she changed or... All right, hold on. The clothes were in her hand. She had transferred it from Libby to Abby. Okay? So even if Abby put on the clothes herself, why would she still have a hair? Oh, the jacket was brand new? I didn't know that. So the jacket had never been worn. I don't see how a hair, and it was from the root, I think they said. I think I heard one of the experts say it was from the root, that it was a rooted hair. So how did a rooted hair that had never been worn by her end up in Abby's hand after there was so much going on? I was wondering if it was multiple or single. I couldn't remember. I think I read two different things. Someone said it was a single hair. Someone said it was a bunch of hair. She was dressed before. She couldn't have been dressed. Oh, I know what you're saying. So then Libby was running around naked for a long time? Oh, it was not rooted. I thought it was rooted. It was Abby's sister or Libby's sister? Oh, you're right. It was Abby's. No, it was Libby's sister, I think. Yeah, it was Kelsey is Liberty's sister. It was 100% rooted. I see it. That's where I get confused. Yeah, it was Libby's sister. Because I just watched that Down the Hill program on HBO today. So that's where it's pretty fresh in my mind. You guys threw me off. Yeah, it was Libby's sister. That's what I thought. And rooted. That's what I remember hearing this morning, that it was rooted. Because they did talk about other hairs that were not rooted that they couldn't test or whatever. But her hair was rooted. When your hair falls out, didn't have roots, right? Now, I also hate to say it, but is anyone else thinking that Libby's sister had something to do with this? Because I kind of tend to think it does. It's another one of my possibilities. Not that she may have done it personally, but is it possible that, I mean, they weren't exactly the greatest family. Libby's sister is in forensics now. Okay. That doesn't mean that her and her friends didn't do something fucked up years ago. I mean, I remember hearing there was something about trial about a female. Yeah, but Richard Allen has an alibi too. I mean, she graduated from Purdue. I don't know. I just think of the Barbie and Ken people that you just never know. And I'm not saying she's guilty. I'm just saying that Kelsey's the one that dropped them off. That I don't know. It's just one of those random thoughts that go through your head. That, okay, well, her hair was found on the body, in the hand. How did it get there? The hair was Kelsey's hair, and it's from Kelsey's jacket that Abby was wearing on the bridge. Ellie didn't even analyze. They didn't analyze anybody's phone. Kelsey also immediately jumped into the case. Well, it was her sister, in all fairness. I mean, I would have jumped in too. Purdue's a good school. And again, I'm not blaming her. I'm not saying, oh my God, I'm just wondering if that avenue was gone down, especially because now they're saying that it's possibly a female involved. That it could be a female, that they found, trace of female, and the fact that it was never tested. I don't know, just, it's possible. Don't rule it out is what I'm saying. It's possible. And the fact that with all this transfer, hairs from Kelsey end up in her hand after she's been walked, she's been murdered, there's clothes. How would hair get in her hand? Not like on her body, but physically in her hand. That doesn't add up. I know it's a thought that people don't want to go down, but it doesn't add up. If her hair was in her body, or they found her hair like on her chest or something, I'm all with you. Yeah, but that wouldn't be in her hand. wrapped around her finger. It just wouldn't be in her hand. Wearing your sweatshirt could have totally been on your body. Kelsey did know where she was that day. 100%. I think she was at work or was going to work. I don't know. We'll have to get into it later. And again, I'm not blaming her, but I'm not ruling her out either. Because when in trial, when they said, yeah, the fact that it's rooted is another thing, but the fact that it's rooted, I don't know how much. But I specifically remember the trial, either Andrea, lawyer Lee, one of them, had stated about being a female, that they found stuff had to do with a female. Yeah, but Amber, her hands were also very clean. Like, Andrea Burkhart said her hands were cleaner than hers on a good day. Like, her hands were that clean and her clothes were wet, which tells me she was in the water. She had to have been in the water at some point. If her hands were washed and her clothes were wet, how the fuck would you get rooted hair wrapped around your fingers? Wouldn't they have been taken off when your hands were washed? You would have your hands. If someone physically washed her hands, that hair would be gone. If somebody physically changed her clothes, she had to have been in water. How she was in water, I don't know. But she had to have been in water. Yeah, but they didn't connect the DNA to anybody either. Abby was still dating Brad Holder's son. They were in a floodplain. Yeah, but Libby wasn't wet. Only Abby was wet. Yeah, she was wearing that when she was killed, not dressed, after. So, how would the hair get in her hand, wrapped around her fingers? Unless that was done after her hands were washed. It very well could have happened after her hands were cleaned or washed or something. I can't think of any other way that she would be wet and then have hair. Because even wrapped around, it's when you're in the water, it's going to get washed off. If you wash your hands, it's going to get washed off. If somebody washes your hands for you, it's going to get washed off. But we know she was wet, Amber, and we know her hands were clean as can be. So that, what I thought, not that somebody washed her hands, but I felt like she was in the water somehow. Somehow she was wrapped in water. Whether they made her go in the water or something happened, but she was in water. My guess is that's how her hands got so clean, because she was in the water. So maybe they went in water. That was originally how they were going to kill them, and then they decided no, so they took her out. But I'll tell you something else I thought of. I think Abby watched Libby get killed, and then they sliced her throat. That's what I think. I had a dream about this. That they made Abby watch Libby. And everything that Libby went through, Abby watched. And then that's where the tears came from. Because she was watching this happen to her friend. And then when it was over, they sliced her throat. I don't know why I thought this, but I literally had a dream about it. Then I had a dream about shrimp. But I think that's what happened. Why they did that, I don't know. One of them lived way longer than the other one. Maybe Abby got that hair on her hands from inside the sweatshirt. Yeah, but her clothes were wet. Oh, was it Libby with tears? I thought it was Abby with tears. Yeah, but the theory about her being held, this is another thing I was thinking about today. Whenever you die, if someone is strangling you, that's where the bruise marks come from. If somebody is holding your wrists, once you die, those marks are going to show. So why they're saying that, oh, someone may have been holding her down, she would have bruise marks. Those bruise marks of people restraining her would show just like a rope would show. You know, if someone ties you up with a rope, you're going to see it. Wherever they were restraining you is gonna show those marks like on your wrists. So I don't believe anyone was restraining her. I think you would see it. You would visibly see it on her wrists. But the fact that her clothes were wet, again, goes back to she was in the water somehow. And like I said, I don't know if they wanted her to be in the water, if it's totally unrelated to the creek. And I mean, they were on Ron Logan's property. Maybe Ron Logan brought him in the house. I mean, they did such a poor job of investigating. Maybe she was SA'd and all the DNA was wiped away because it was, she was soaked in water. Who knows? I don't know. I believe that too. They were moved and brought back. I have no idea how many are involved. I wouldn't even try to guess. But I don't believe it was one. I don't believe it was one without being restrained. And I don't believe she was restrained because there's no physical marks to show restraint. They were found on Ron's land beside the creek. Yes. But her whole body was wet. I mean, they say her clothes were visibly wet. And Ron Logan's dead, so we have no way to... By the way, how long did Ron Logan die that they arrested Richard Allen? Like, when did Ron Logan actually die? Like, what year? Did he die, like, in 2020? Or did he die closer to, like, 2022? No, I did not hear that. Where would I hear that? Oh, so it was right in the middle. Because I'm just wondering if they were on to Ron Logan, and then when he died, which could be karma. I mean, it really could be karma. It could be the ghosts of Abby and Libby that took his life. Who knows? I have no idea, Annie. It was his property, so you can't rule him out. I'm just not ruling him out because it was his property. You know, he could have brought people in there. There's a lot of them. So Ron Logan's ex-girlfriend says that he is Bridge Guy. This goes from everywhere from 8 months ago to 2 years ago, and everywhere in between. Yeah. Hold on.
I remember.
Oh, I only see one for like 5 minutes. I didn't see the one for 30 minutes. No, but a theory that I heard is that he brought people into, like, it may have been a setup where someone like Keegan Kline brought the girls to him or something. It was set up, and then they, like, next day, you know, wanted to get rid of them. I don't know. The girls did ride Ron Logan's horses, though. Families knew him well. All right, so I will find that other one later. I'm just going to show this 5-minute clip from Banfield. Whoop. Because then I really got to get candles done. And don't forget, order your candles, energycandles.com, 25% off until tonight. It ends tonight.
I remember him from the Inside Edition.
Liberty German shot this chilling image of the killer approaching the girls on a hiking trail, and she recorded the killer's voice.
What do you hear on there?
Nothing that I recognize at all. No one. I don't recognize the voice at all.
Wow. That's your voice. And I heard the voice of down the hill. Thousands of times. It's Ron Logan saying, down the hill. And I called the tip line.
Joining me now, News Nation senior national correspondent Brian Enton. So Connie Dillman seems so confident about this. Like, what else makes her think that it's her ex-boyfriend who's the killer?
Yeah, this was a big moment tonight, actually. We've never heard from Connie Dillman before. This is all brand new. So this is something we've never heard before. And let's also not forget in all this that Ron Logan is dead, by the way, for people who are following along. He died of COVID. But she basically says that he is a bad man, that he is a violent man, that she thinks that he did it, that he was violent with her in the past. And as you heard in that clip, that when she heard that voice, she thought right away that it was Ron Logan. Listen to a little more of what she said for the first time tonight about what kind of man this is.
Ron's property was right next to Monon High Bridge. He had some pasture, he had some goats and the horses. I moved in with him for a while, and it didn't really work out very well. He was controlling with me. Had to keep the house tidy and couldn't lay down on the couch. It just had to be the way he wanted it. But he wanted me there it goes a little bit further than me in his life. I've pretty much a sex tool. Can we stop? Can we?
Yeah, we can stop.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know where that came from. When I didn't want to have sex, he forced it on me. And I was helpless. You know, I couldn't help myself. And when I did get away, he would always draw me back. One day, he had been working on putting a new door on a basement cellar, and I said I wanted to break it off with him. And out of the blue, he hit me over the head with the crescent wrench. And I remember taking off, running to my vehicle, and I remember falling to the ground. And I was afraid he was going to hit me again. So I was able to get on my hands and knees, and I crawled away. I got to my vehicle, and I was able to leave, and then I felt the blood running down my face. I barely remember the drive to the doctor's office, which is only a few miles to Delphi, and had 7 steeples put in my head. But I actually went to my sister's after that. I'm lucky I got out of that situation, but it took a long time.
It really is stunning to hear her tell that story for the first time. She's obviously very, very emotional. And again, she feels confident, Connie does, that the wrong guy may be locked up, which is pretty startling to think about.
Not only that, but Ron Logan had kind of a weird alibi. And from what I remember 7 years ago, it didn't really check out.
So weird. So he claimed to police that he was going to a town outside of Delphi to buy tropical fish, and that he was with his cousin. But we later come to find out that when they looked into this, they talked to the cousin. The cousin didn't back that up. They were never able to clear that alibi, to figure out if it was true or not. And even to this day, it seems like he lied about where he went.
Pretty specific when you're mentioning tropical fish, and easy to track that. But this is a small community, and they're not used to having double homicides, especially with kids. So, I mean, I've seen it happen. All right. So, what about the property? Like, they did look at his property. They actually did investigate, but I feel like it might have been a long lag.
They did, but it was a month after the murders. So think about it. A month has gone by. There's so much that could have been done out there at that property in that time. A month.
A month is a long time for anything.
Right.
I mean, even the weather can take.
I mean, there were a lot of mistakes with this investigation, a lot of issues, and this just seems like it was another one.
But thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com.
Look how cute Brian Enton looked. He looked so cute there. All those tips, not one on. All right, I agree. See, I tend to think, and then I really do have to go, but I tend to think, this is my theory, and I'm going to look more into it but for tonight. But one of my theories is that when they like disappeared or whatever, they were brought to Ron Logan's property. They were there. That is Logan's property. And that's where they were held overnight. They maybe were going to do something and for some reason decided not to. And Ron Logan said, get rid of them. And they had to kill them because they didn't have a choice. And they made it look like it was a ritualistic killing or whatever. I don't know. Well, that's good, Blissville. I want to hear. See, this is what I said earlier. You weren't here earlier. I said, I know that I'm not a genius coming up with things that nobody else has thought of over the last 7 years, but I want to know, with the theories that I have come up with, what were the conclusions? What, was it a cop? Like, what was the finale of somebody finding out, okay, it wasn't a cop kind of thing? They never searched inside the shed. And like they just said, it was a month later, though. So even if they did search, it was a month later. And why they wouldn't search Ron Logan's property. And then after Ron Logan died, they needed somebody. They had to put it on someone. Well, you can't convict a dead person. And, here's another thing that I don't know how many people have thought of. Being SA'd doesn't necessarily mean they weren't forced to do something on the men. I don't think there's any way to prove that somebody didn't have someone's, hoo-ha in their mouth. They have no idea. So they could have been forced to blow Ron Logan and whoever else, and there's no way to prove that after death. So could it have been sexually motivated? It could. There's no way to prove if the girls were forced to do something to the guys. The only thing you can prove is that they weren't penetrated. But that doesn't mean they weren't forced to do something to whoever had them. They could have been forced to do stuff every night. 8 months ago. I'm going to try to find the whole interview tonight. But you know what I'm saying, though? When they talk about SA, that just means they were smart not to do anything to the girls. That doesn't mean that the girls didn't do anything on them. No, but you know what I'm saying, Amber? I'm trying to keep this politically correct. But if a guy is playing it smart and doesn't want to leave his DNA on someone per se, I mean, look at how many guys, look at drug dealers. I use drug dealers for example. Drug dealers don't sleep with 1 million girls. What they do is they get head from 1 million girls. Oh, you want drugs? Okay, suck my dick. Because that doesn't do anything. It doesn't leave an imprint on the girl. That's just, So I'm saying that maybe the girls were forced. I mean, I hate to say it, but maybe the girls were forced to do things to them instead of them doing horrible things to the girls. You know what I mean? Try not to get too graphic. Because I don't want somebody to be like, how could you say that? Blah, blah, blah. I'm just saying, if Ron, for example, if Ron is that big of a piece of shit, like his ex-girlfriend says, and she was a sex tool, well, then it makes perfect sense if the girls were forced to do things to the guy or the guys or whoever. Hopefully not. Hopefully I'm totally wrong. But I don't think you can rule that out either. I really don't. I don't see how they can rule that out. They're keeping a lot of things out of trial, which is absolutely ridiculous. Like, literally ridiculous. Well. So, all right, let me get this work done, though, and I'm hungry. But I will see you beautiful people at around 9:30 tonight. And if you guys want to send me any links, Patreons or Discord, you can do that in Discord. Patreon, You could do that in Patreon. Members, you could do it in members. But either way, we will continue this at 9:30 tonight. Criminal Med, email me. Tell me what candle you want. We'll set it up. I have tons. All right? But I got to get these candles done so I can get them out tomorrow. And don't forget, energycandles.com. I'm going to put together a little commercial. It was more than BG and those girls were not there by half. So I agree with you. But there's just so many holes to go down. But I don't want to go down those holes. I want to find the answers to my questions. That's what I'm looking for. I want those answers because right now, at this moment, I think an innocent man is behind bars. Whether it be by circumstance, whether it be whatever reason, I absolutely believe that an innocent man, that a man that did not do what they said he did, is behind bars. Could he have played a part? Could he have really been bridge guy that lured the girls to Ron Logan's house? Absolutely he could. He could. I'm not denying that. But you can't tell me that there's not reasonable doubt that he did not do this. Because there's plenty of reasonable doubt that he didn't do this and he was being framed. And my biggest thing on that is the man has no criminal record. He's never been in trouble with the law. He's got one speeding ticket or something. That's not a criminal mastermind. That's not someone who's going to clean everything up because he didn't go to jail. And that's another thing that I wonder. Was Abby the one, and that's why she was washed afterwards? Because they wanted to clean off anything that got on her from them? Again, I'm being politically correct. You know what I mean? It just makes you wonder. And of course, they never tested the mouth. They never did swabs of her mouth to find out if, I mean, they did say there was male semen. They just said there wasn't enough or whatever. Well, that kind of goes with my theory. If they weren't penetrated and there was no physical sex, well, how would male semen get on them? Well, you know how it would happen? Is if they did what I think they did. That's how male semen would get on them. And then they try to wash it off. That's why she was wet. And again, if anyone else has come down this theory, let me know. Because that's my theory. But I'm going to do some candles. I will see you guys 9:30. And we will definitely continue this. I'm giving away 5 memberships at 9:30 as well. All right? I'll see you guys at 9:30. No, but they did find male seminal fluid. But not like due to sex. They didn't find it due to sex and they didn't have enough of it to test it. But she said they did find male seminal fluid. But not like, yeah, not enough and not, it wasn't near her genitals or anything. Which only further proves my thoughts. So, all right, I will see you guys at, no, they did, Amber. It was in trial. I remember hearing it yesterday. I think Andrea Burkhart in her notes had said it. But it wasn't male seminal fluid like someone raped, art her or anything. It wasn't, they didn't find it in her genitals. They just found male semen, a profile for it, but there wasn't enough. It was in trial. I remember hearing it yesterday. Because I was like, how do you find that, but say that there's no essay or anything? It was by cervix internally? I don't remember hearing that. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't remember hearing that, though. I don't remember hearing it was internal or anything. I just remember hearing that they found some. But they already said that they weren't S8 or anything. So, yeah, I don't remember hearing anything about cervix internally. I just remember hearing, I'll tell you, I remember hearing specifically saying they did find male seminal fluid, but there was not enough for them to test. And I don't remember where it was. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just don't remember where it was. Okay. There was no injury. Yeah, but I'm assuming they were both virgins as well. I mean, I might be wrong, but I'm assuming they were. So that would be very easy to know if anything happened. So, all right, I'm going to get some solid answers, and I will see you guys at 9:30. All right? Peace.